Alright folks, we have the unboxing of the Sunlu Terminator 3. The nice thing about it is it has a print size of 220 by 220 by 250 millimeters. Now, that's a decent size for a starting printer. Right off the bat, I can say that I was extremely impressed with the instructions that came with this. Everything was really clear, it was easy to put together, and all the tools were easily marked. The next part that I needed to do was just pay attention on the bags to which ones went to which step. As you're watching, you may think that these are a lot of bolts and a lot of steps, but I can assure you that this was an extremely user-friendly experience using the step-by-step brochure that they had with it for putting this together. As a parent helping out a kid make their first 3D printer, or as an adult that wants to start a new hobby, this is a great printer to start with. Alright, so it took me just under 20 minutes to put it all together. I mean, that was fairly simple. The only thing that I would point out is right back here, you can take one of your Allen wrenches and change it from the 115 to 230 if you need to. Now, to make sure that's absolutely clear, 115 is going to be your standard house outlet. If you have a shop or something else where you're able to set up for a higher output, then of course you can use that 220, and it should allow you to hit some of those higher print speeds with a little bit more clarity. The other one is right down here. When I was plugging in the power supply, initially it was stuck back there, and it was a pain in the butt to get out for just a second. If you just pull that out and make sure it's hanging out before you try and tighten the bolts down on the back of this, that'll save you a headache. As I did notice in the unboxing, for those that like to be super picky with it, there is a little bit of a scuff mark over here, and right over here there's a bunch of residue from hot gluing different parts in. I had some up here, but I started pulling it off before I took a video. The parts that are included is an extra tip, a tip cleaner. Now, I've never had a printer that came with a tip cleaner, so that is really cool. It has a couple of spare bolts for everything on the different sizes, and some of these different tips in here. If you look at them, I don't know if you can see that through the packaging, these clear tips, at first I wasn't quite sure what they are, but if you look, I'm certain that they're probably extra tips for the bed leveling sensor. Two different ways to connect your printer. One is going to be using this USB with a little drive that's inside. I popped it out a second ago. So this can slide right in down there. And same thing, if your computer is really close to your printer, then you can use this cable, but it's a really short cable. So I'd suggest getting a longer cable if you're planning on doing that, or if you have room, then you're all set. But I've always just used little thumb drives like this, and they work just fine. Overall, I'm happy with it so far. I'm really hoping this printer works out. I mean, everything's really nice, smooth, clean line. I can already see a couple things I want to print to add on to it. So I'll see how that goes. Other than that, it's time to print. It appears that there's no first time use instructions. That's one that I definitely recommend that they put in with their boxes. It probably doesn't take too much time to do a brief description, but it might be they don't want to explain the slicing process and everything else. So, time for me to go look up some videos, and I'll get back and I can put that in. So what I ended up finding out was that, at least for Cura, which is the standard slicer that I've always used, what you're going to want to do is go in and mark this down as an Ender V2 or V3, I believe. But it has the same print bed. It's going to be that 220 by 220 by 220, I think is the Ender 3, but this one is 250. So you lose a little bit of room, but you can adjust that and make a custom printer if you want to. But that's an easy way to start it off right off the bat so that it's printing out how you need it. An important thing to note is how you're going to be doing your leveling for the first time. So you'll come down here, go to motion, go to level. From there, you're going to go to your Z offset. Now, I found my offset at negative 1.71. I found it ranged anywhere between 1.4 and 1.71. But you want to get it, the really nice thing about this printer is you can get it absolutely perfectly set. So go in, do your paper setup on the first time, and after you've done your paper setup, you need to do it on all four corners. But you'll get that Z offset set, and it's just fantastic after that. I haven't had to touch it. It just holds perfectly still. But the first time you do it, What you're looking for are those really perfectly smashed in first layer lines. So this is how quiet the printer actually is. It's been fairly nice. As far as I can tell, it doesn't make any loud noises or anything else throughout the entire process, so everything else is fantastic. This was supposed to be an 11-hour print. It's been going for 4.5 hours. And it's only got maybe an hour left. It's starting to do the top layer right now. Now for this magnetic bed, it has a really good adhesion. So I'd say that you don't need any kind of brim or skirt or anything else to go with it. It should do fairly well all on its own. And in fact, it's sort of a pain to try and get some of that skirt off when I have done that. So just no adhesion on the sides, and it has a runoff strip to get rid of any color swap or anything else like that. So this is crazy stuff. This was supposed to be, I think it was like a 1-day and 6-hour print or something like that. So that's 30 hours. So we're at 15 right now, and it's almost done. It's just fantastic. This thing's been cutting down print times by half, which is insane. So as a final note, this is a really beginner-friendly printer. It's been a nice one to use so far, and I've been checking out prints pretty much since I got it. It's been a few weeks now, and I haven't had any problems with it. It hasn't come out of level, and even at the top speed, it's been putting out some really nice detail. The only one that I've been having trouble with is letters. You have to figure out some kind of setting for the speed so that the letters will come out clear, otherwise they get all blotched up. But I've been going into Cura and using the slow block setting, and that's been working pretty well. I bring it down to about 50 millimeters, and that's been fine. So that's it. Have a good one.